Oh, we are actually live.
We are.
Yeah. All right, gal. Welcome to EduView, episode 00000 in a non-existent season.
We like to be different.
Definitely. And now you can actually see everybody because I am doing double duty as a director like I have done in the past. And I am actually at work and you guys are not.
Really?
Yes. Well, I don't know. Do you count this as work?
No, this is so much fun.
And Kate's at Starbucks. Welcome, Kate.
Happy holidays!
So we have been off the air since what, y'all? Was it June? Right
June
before
9th.
June 9th. You actually know the date.
I just went to our Google Plus page.
Oh, wow.
Very nice. Good job researching.
Good job.
So yeah, we've been very, very busy. A lot of things have kind of blown up, and we're going to run through some of our updates personally, and then we want to talk about what we've missed in 2014, and then go on and talk about what's coming up in 2015. I know for a fact a lot of really interesting conferences, particularly here in the South and the Southeast, are on the horizon very, very shortly. So opportunities that you really don't want to miss. So, Stacia, I'm going to say I choose you. Go. Tell me what's going on in your life. Yes, I choose you first.
Oh, wow. It's been a busy first semester, and I missed you, ladies. I'm so glad to be back on this reunion show for the holidays. I consider this my Christmas gift for all of us, huh? So Love It has put together an amazing team of people. We have some new people in place doing academic integration or technology integration. And we are forging ahead with some great things like introducing SAMRA to our faculty in the spring. That's going to be one of my personal goals, is to get some teachers on board on a voluntary basis to really look at how we're using technology. You know, we've been one-to-one for like 7 years. And, you know, a lot of us are still using it just to substitute what we've been doing in the good old days. And so it's time to just take it a little deeper. But personally, I've just been growing more as a leader. I was chosen to be a part of this leadership cohort with a lead consulting firm here in Atlanta. We got to go on their campus for 3 days, 2 Thursdays consecutively. And they worked with us on just communication and creative brainstorming and conflict resolution and delegation, just all those things that we don't, I think, you know, we get thrown into these situations to lead and take charge of a lot of things, but we're not really prepared to handle those things. You know, I didn't go through an MBA program or anything like that. And so it was really good to have that intense one-on-one working with professionals where it wasn't just, you know, them pouring into us, but we actually got to do some role playing. We got to take it back into our job and then come back and say, how did it work? You know, how was I able to resolve this conflict, or what would you do in this situation? And it was kind of like they had a mold, because some of the scenarios were so close to real life that it was scary. Like, who are y'all talking to at Love It? So, for instance, there was this one thing about, you know, working with that teacher who was very adverse to making changes in technology. And I could totally see in my head who this could be. And at that moment, I got to brainstorm with my colleagues on what would I say to this person? How would I react if they did this? You know, what other people do I bring into the conversation? So that was really exciting, just growing as a leader this first semester. And so I really want to reflect on that over the holidays and see how do I take that into the next semester and then beyond, where I will be in a more formal role of leading K-12 integration and not just middle school integration at Love It. So that's the exciting thing for me right now, personally.
And another reason why we have been off air. we've all been very, very busy. Now, Kate, I know you're at Starbucks, but since you're next in my row, why don't you tell us what's going on with you?
Well, first I just want to say it's so good to see all of you. I have missed you greatly. As you know, I think I've hounded each of you about that. But kind of segue from what Stacia said, we do look so at the Love It model, Stacia, so you should be very proud. That conversation comes up a lot. And we're looking at flexible learning spaces as well. And I would like to think that that's in part to Stacia's school and everything that has been that forward-thinking model, the forward-thinking just mindset has been huge. And Jamie, of course, is in my district now, and she's one of the first ones to take that on. She doesn't let anything get in her way which I love about Jamie. But we're also looking into so many initiative types of innovative spaces, innovative models for instruction, for dual enrollment. And then, of course, there's the high-def video conferencing that we're instituting in Fayette. The superintendent wants us to do a splash day in March where we bring in all the systems and kind of do a showcase of different and various classes connected around the world. So we're really looking forward to that. And also, too, we have just a myriad of upgrades, Chromebook rollouts, upgrade of hardware, and offering that mobility for students to have either a Chromebook or a Nexus 7 tablet or what have you. Of course, it did not get noisy until I started, right? Then all the noise starts. It's totally, anyway. So that's been very time-consuming, as you might imagine. But thankfully, Chromebooks have been the biggest hit, by far, easiest deployment. It has been a beautiful, beautiful thing. And of course, with Chrome Management Console, we just are thrilled. The teachers are very happy, which of course makes me happy because that's who I work for. And then I'm still working for Kennesaw State. I love my work with Kennesaw, teaching for their instructional technology department, their master's and specialist degree programs. That has been probably one of the highlights of my year, but it's very time consuming, as you might imagine. So that's about it.
Fantastic. And I want to hear more about those Chromebook rollouts, and I'm sure Jamie probably has some opinions about that as well. So, Jamie, what do you guys have to say about this? And
Well,
probably Amy too, for the record.
I guess if we haven't been here since June 9th, the reality is nothing in my life is the same. So it was at the end of August, and y'all know I consulted for 2 years. So like I literally have worked with a million principals, and 98% of them I could never have actually worked for. Unfortunately, still in K-12, there is a philosophy, especially in elementary education, where administrators are fulfilling whatever it is that their bosses are telling them to do, and technology is the extra. It is the add-on. It is not an equal or necessary part. It's just what is there. And so Kate contacted me at the end of August, like literally school starting, and said, I think that, there might be an opportunity for you. Would you be interested in an interview? And I said, okay, Kate, because my first thought is no. I mean, there have been so many principals that I was like, just the thought. I just didn't think I was going to fit back in K-12. I really did not. I just thought, I've surpassed that. There's nowhere I'm going to fit. Well, Kate found like a magical principal for me. And like we are like peanut butter and jelly. She gets it. She absolutely values everything I value. She supports everything I support. She gets it. She's an anomaly in terms of elementary principals. And Kate will back that up in that she's an amazing administrator, but she also gets it. And technology isn't the extra, but it's a valuable part of everything that we do on a daily basis. And she values flexible learning spaces, which is fabuloso for me. So I'm excited because it's just been a year of, I've had to transition a lot, and it's been a very different role for me. So learning how to transition into a district role, I see 750 kids every third week. So yes, I teach kindergartners technology. And that is an adventure in itself, but it's an amazing adventure. And so I'm so thankful to Kate because she really put me with like the best principal, the best staff. And Kate has said, you might need to be patient with staff. You just never know. And I mean, honestly, I couldn't ask for better staff. I mean, they're willing to do. They're just willing. They're not. Nobody is like, no, we're not going to do that. Kate was there on Friday. Was it Friday? I think it was Friday. And we walked the building, and there's just Chromebooks everywhere. It's just they're always out. And I said to Kate, it's amazing. This is the first piece of technology that I think I've ever seen in a school where everybody uses it. It doesn't go on a shelf. It's not collecting dust. It's out every single day. And so that's fabulous. I mean, that's when you go to work every day and that's what's happening. It's an exciting place to be. And I have had to rely on Amy Petrowski every single day. Well, maybe not 2 days. All but 2 days of the entire school year. Amy has been there to back me up and help me with all the things that I don't know about, this technology position. And so I'm forever grateful to Amy additionally for that. But as Kate said, flexible learning spaces are definitely on a horizon, and I'm hoping to have one of the very first spaces that gets that huge transformation. We have recently tried out the wobble stool, and we actually have an ergo that will be on its way to try that out with kids. I am letting...
I want you to get the buoy too, Jamie. I want the buoy out there too.
Hey, all right, you ship it out.
The steel-case buoy.
Hey, I would love to, but it's a little more expensive than those other two.
I'll give you guys some homework really quick and tweet out what those things are, because I don't know what they are.
Well, my DigiLeaders actually did a review of the wobble, and then the ergo is going to be shipped. And so, the best part of this is I'm letting kids choose. I'm letting kids try these out. I'm letting kids give these a shot and then give their opinion on these things. And then additionally, as we get our upgrades on our computers, I'm going to completely beg and plead with the people who install my new computers that we redesign the entire space, so that it's a collaborative learning space. And so I'm excited because it's going to be by March, April, I think I'm going to have an entirely new space, and I'm just elated. So.
Well, fantastic. That's very cool.
Doing a video with the wobble with the music playing in the background.
Wobble. Yeah, that's a good idea, Stacia. Well, and what was funny is I actually emailed her principal about this time last year. It was in January, I think, and said, oh, my. I don't think, I don't know if you're going to have an opening, but this is the person you need to look to. So that's kind of my mission, is to partner up these strong leaders, administrators with strong technology leaders. So just the magic is happening, and I could not be more proud and more privileged to work with Jamie and Amy too. Both of them are phenomenal.
And what's your county's website so people can know?
It's fcboe.org, Fayette County Board of Education.
So F as in Frank, C as in
F
cat.
as in Frank. Mm-hmm.
C as in this one. That's right.
And then also the hashtag FCBOE Tech. Amy and I frequent that a bit, but I'm pretty sure that my kiddos' review, we did that review on Audio Boom, and so they did a whole Audio Boom of their review on Wobble, and then they will do another one when we get the Ergo in January.
And share the Sarah Hart Mentor Twitter name too, Jamie, because there's a lot of great things there.
It's at Sarah Hart Mentor.
And Sarah without an H.
Yes. And at Angelo Aaron, ERINN. She's my principal, and she's somewhat tweeting under her real name.
She has an alias.
She does.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for sharing. And since we've already prepped enough for Amy, what's going on in your life?
Well, let's see. Since we left in June, I took a lovely summer vacation to Maine with my boys, and just left all the tech behind. So unfortunately, I didn't make it back for our amazing Ed Camp Fayette, which Kate and others organized. It was amazing from all accounts, and even inspired one teacher in my building to start BYOT with our second graders, which was not something that I had encouraged her to do. That was something that she decided to do as a direct result from going to the Ed Camp Fayette. So that was really fabulous. So we started the school year, and for me, this is my second year in this position, and so I have been privileged to spend every day on Voxer with my friend Jamie, collaborating and taking her good ideas and applying them to my staff. And we've done some hangouts with our kiddos and after school, and they're having a ball with that. That's a ton of fun. And of course, we're getting ramped up this year in our district. And I don't know, Kate can correct me on this, but in every Georgia school district, we now have these student learning objectives, which is how our students are measured.
Yes.
And so for regular classroom teachers, they're going to be measured with the Georgia milestones, and then we have a new teacher evaluation system and leader evaluation system So for technology teachers, that falls on our 5th grade students who are already taxed as the busiest kids in the building. So we are going full force ahead with putting together student portfolios this year. And so that's been a big focus in my life, is just getting my 5th graders into my classroom and working on some really amazing products. 5th graders are such a great age because they are so willing to learn, and they are at the right age where they can do some difficult things. And so we've been screenshotting and videoing and programming away. Both Jamie and I both participated in the Hour of Code just 2 weeks ago, and that was a great big success. Like last year, we had our friends at Sandy Creek High School come and partner with our students to do some Hour of Code activities, and that was fantastic. Their teacher, Alexandra Velhakis, was our County Teacher of the Year last year, and she is brilliant, like amazingly so. She and Kate were standing there talking, and I was like, I wish I were so smart. I think like as an elementary school teacher, sometimes you feel like, you know, people are talking way above your head, and I was like, okay, Alex, but she's just amazing. So we were really lucky to partner with them. And so that's just a snippet of what we've been doing over at good old Cleveland Elementary School, and we hashtag CES Crocs.
Crocs.
Crocs, we're the crocodiles.
Cute.
Crocs rock.
Oh my god. We're being loopy now. I love that. I love the fact that all 3 of you guys work together, because when we left in June, Amy, you were there, Kate, you were there, but Jamie was not. So,
nope.
I know.
We are so happy to have Jamie on board. Like,
Oh, yeah.
gives us warm fuzzies, because now I have a friend. Not that I didn't have a friend before, but now I like have.
Hey, Amy.
But I have a friend who's like the same as me every day. We're doing the same things, and then we can talk about them and do that sort of thing.
Right, which is you know why the reason why we're having a reunion, to kind of reflect on 2014 and some of the stuff that we've done and some of the interesting news that's been out in education. You know, Jamie mentioned, hey, we should probably get together and do something, and it is very isolating. It's so surprising to think that in the world of ed tech, you can be so isolated in your own little world. So, you know, I have 700 faculty, and I still feel very isolated myself.
Yeah,
so,
sure. Well, and I've always taught on a team, and this is the first time I've not been on a team in an elementary school. I mean, I'm on the specials team, but that's not a, like, technology team. And so Amy is kind of my team.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a whole because we're so prolifically, you know, in love with technology. We're very realistic about it. Very, you know, it's it's just a tool. It doesn't replace the teaching, but there's still so much, I don't know, I guess stigma to it, that for those of us who are working with faculty, it gets to be a little difficult. But as for myself, when we left in June, I think I had just started my job here at Georgia Gwinnett. And so far, so good. It is, I mean, they make, wherever you work, there's always a joke about, you know, it's such and such time, right? So if I was like at Kennesaw State, I think David Lockhart retweeted us. If I was at Kennesaw State, it'd be, you know, KSU time. Or I guess, Kate, you understand that. Well, and when I came here, they're talking about GDC time. I'm thinking, oh, come on. Every place has something like that. Wow, no. This place is literally, you hit the ground running and you do not stop. I think there was one point in September or October, just when things had started to calm down from new faculty orientations, we were suddenly told, hey, you have 3 weeks to put together something to train people for hybrid teaching who've never done it before, and they're going to be teaching it in the spring. Surprise! We're like, oh, so we have 3 weeks to do all this, and there's only me and my coworker. His name is Rolando Marquez, Roy Marquez. He is on Twitter as well. And man, the learning curve is pretty steep because I'm coming into this. I'm not an expert, or I was not an expert on online and hybrid learning, but coming into it and now going through that kind of, you know, trial by fire, you learn a lot. I'm enjoying higher ed. I was a little daunted at first And particularly because, I don't have my doctorate yet. I'm younger. I was always kind of worried about, being with the faculty. But I have to say, it's a really good community. We are leading a lot of faculty learning communities, which I highly recommend for K-12. It gets people out of the classroom, right? And there's one on the Scholarship for Teaching and Learning. We're going to have some more on diversity, multicultural classrooms. There's a big game that I'm about to talk about that has a whole faculty learning community. And that just gets people together and just talking. We have food. Come and eat, have some coffee, and talk. So it's been nice to work here and to see some real transformation. I hosted for a faculty member her first Google Hangout on Air ever. She brought in someone from France who's a specialist on genocide talking to her students, and that was really interesting. It was about an hour and a half long, and there were two times I was trying not to cry. It was just incredible. It's such an incredible opportunity that you're able to bring that to school. But yeah, this is my beautiful office because unlike you guys, I'm still working until the 24th. I don't complain though. We're doing a bunch of fun stuff. We're trying to flip a lot of our training. We're putting all of our training online. But beyond that, I've been to Mountain View. I was a lead learner for Google Teacher Academy out in Mountain View, which is fantastic, and I love those people. I've done, I've been visiting some schools here and there, and of course, a big event that we had in the fall, starting kind of a 2014 reflection here, is the Google Educator Group for Georgia finally had their meeting. Finally, I know, and we I think almost all of us was there. We were able to see each other. And it was actually at the Google office right before a Google Leadership Symposium the next day, where Kate was there. And it was a fantastic experience. That was myself and Lee Green, who is an Inst tech guy on Twitter. And I promised that I would give him a shout out. But it was a great success, really interesting, and kind of some interesting feedback from the actual Google people as well. Do you guys remember what some of the stuff we were talking about at all?
We hit on the question of badging. I know we talked a little bit about that, and looking at it from a student perspective, because we very much look at Google from a teacher perspective. Mm-hmm. So I think we hit on that a little bit, and getting kids involved with badging and things of that nature. So that stuck out in my head, obviously.
Yeah, the micro-credentialing thing is kind of interesting. Still, we're doing some badging tracks here, but getting the buy-in has been kind of challenging. So we'll see. But my big news and stuff that I'm actually I literally have to start blogging about this to help with my dissertation, because I did pass my qualifying exams. Yay! I know. So I'm currently knee-deep in Chapter 3. There's 6 chapters. Just quite frightening. Yay, grad school. It's a game. It's called Siege, and it's essentially Harry Potter meets Civilization meets Cards Against Humanity meets a bunch of other different things, and it's indirectly tied into classes. You have professors who volunteer to participate, and they can link assignments to the game. But then there's community activities. They get gold for going places. They get gold for actually attending class. They have a card reader system. They swipe their card. They get gold for their house. There's 4 different houses. They can self-elect, or teachers can put them into the houses. This is kind of the big preview, by the way, of what this is. Everything is online. I've been building everything out of WordPress. It's been kind of interesting for me. And 500 students. It's going to be 500 students large. I will be measuring the community impact, how they feel about community, if they feel like they belong more. That's a big thing here at Georgia Gwinnett. They want people to feel like they belong. Most of our students are first-generation students because we are an open access institution. And some other things, we have faculty who are measuring achievement. We're very interested in academic achievement, engagement, motivation, all that kind of stuff. But there's like 30 people who have their hands in on this. And it's a big game, and it starts February 2nd. So if I disappear, that's what's going on. But other than GAG, I know at Camp Atlanta happened, and I think conference-wise has been kind of slow, right?
Well, most of us were at Southern Summit. Oh, sorry, Amy, go ahead.
Well, for 2014 so far, Amy.
Yeah, I was going to say we were mostly, in 2014, you guys were all at ISTE, and then most of us were, some of us were at GIETC this fall,
Yes.
And there was iSummit as well at Westminster. And
So tell us about Stacia, start with iSummit. What happened? How'd it go?
Well, iSummit, let me tell you, Angela Myers was the keynote, and she was absolutely amazing. I mean, just so connected with all the participants and just had everyone just on fire about just passion. And so I thought it was a great conference. Jamie was one of our pre-summit workshoppers, right, Jamie, on the iPad? And
I did. It was exciting.
That and modeling, you know, how, and that's what I loved about your workshop, because you really modeled how they should use it in the classroom. It wasn't like she was just up there telling them what to do. She modeled it for them. So I thought that was very well done. And Connie White also did a pre-conference workshop on, was hers on, I can't remember if it was professional learning or whether she did something on the brain, or maybe she did both. Connie, she comes almost every year, so it's, sorry I can't keep up. But iSummit was great, and so that's going to happen again early June back at Westminster. And I can't announce yet what the theme is going to be, but I think everyone will be excited to know that we're just kind of thinking out of the box with technology. So kind of think about that.
Fantastic.
That's awesome. I've got a couple of conference announcements. Can I go? Is that okay?
Let's reflect really quick on GAETC before we move on. Then we got to jump into 2015, because 2015 was awesome. 2014 was kind of slow.
2015's packed already.
Oh my gosh, I know. All right, Amy, you want to talk about GAETC or Jamie?
Well, sure. Jamie and Kate heading up GAETC this fall in their roles. Jamie is our amazing social media director, and Kate is like, I don't know, I think she runs the whole conference.
Not quite. No.
But definitely the focus is, one of the big major focuses was on makerspaces this fall, and which was really neat, because last summer I had said to Kate, Kate, maybe I'll do something about makerspaces, and I was like, no, I just, I don't feel like it's here yet, and well, lo and behold, it sure was, and so that was really exciting. I teach a class for Michigan State, and I teach 3 different classes, but the one I teach the most is CEP 811, which is Adapting Innovative Technologies to Education, which is kind of really focused around the maker movement. So to see so many maker things going on at GATC this fall was super exciting for me. And a lot of them were in libraries, and lots of librarians talking about making these maker spaces inside of their libraries. So that was a really neat thing to see at GATC. Kate?
Well, I have to give a shout out to Debbie Childress, who is the program chair, and I'm co-chair with her. And we really tried to focus on more innovation, more kind of the cutting edge, what's going on. We did things like bringing in the nerdy teacher, Nicholas Provenzano. He was a huge hit. And we're trying to focus on media specialists and teachers that are modeling this, just as, I know we've said that word, but it is so true. Jamie is such a great example, and so is Amy. Whenever they present, they model. I'm guilty of being the talking head because, I don't always have that opportunity to be still in that classroom environment, which is actually one of my goals this year, is to be more in the classroom with the teachers or with the school technology specialists. But I thought it was a great conference. We probably had the most positive feedback to date, and it was a great conference, and the whole steering committee does such a great job.
And social media was wonderful.
Yeah. And then there's social media.
Honestly, it was there. And I tweeted, like, after the conference, we used Kate found TweetBeam and said, Jamie, why don't you go for that? And you know me, I'm a free kind of girl. I like the free stuff. And this was not free.
No, it was worth it.
It was incredible.
Sometimes things are worth it.
What was that?
I'm sorry. I just said sometimes things are worth it,
Yeah, and I think I wish I had planned it a little more advanced, and I think we would have used it a little bit better than we did. But what I really liked is they gave us like that recap after the event and showed us like the number of people tweeting and the percent of tweets, and it was incredible. Like the number of people tweeting far surpassed any year ever. And I don't necessarily credit that to me and what I do by any means, but I think that we're progressing as a conference, and we are getting people who are learning how to use social media rather than just to follow or just to like us, but actually how to use it during a conference. And so I completely missed our steering committee conference to share that wonderful news because December was insane, and I woke up one Friday and went, uh-oh, I think I had a meeting today. Oh, gosh. So, yeah, that's been December. But it was really awesome to see educators reaching that point.
Fantastic. I'm so happy to see that Southeastern conferences are kind of on the up and up. Now, of course, we always have FETC. So, I know, and we'll start with that one in a second. I know, and that is possibly a goal for GAETC. And of course, well, North Carolina is really represented. What do they have it in? Cannot remember for the life of me what it's called. I think it's NCATE, yeah, NCATE, right? So it is kind of on the up and up compared to some other regions in the United States. It's nice to see the Southeast represent. So good work, everybody.
FETC. I went in like think 2002, and for me, I had come from Maine, and I thought GATC was in Savannah at the time, and I thought that GATC was the biggest conference I had ever been to. It was so amazing, and then I went to FETC, and it was like miles and miles of walking. I mean, it was amazing. So, I mean, GATC has come a long way since then, but gosh, that is a really neat conference, a really big one. But.
So, well, and let's go ahead and dive right on into that, and let's just go chronologically. Let's just go month by month, because 2015 will be big, and we'll just talk about some conferences, some events in the South, and then our own personal things that we're doing, and also I want to know about what you think might be happening in 2015. And I have one theory in particular that you guys probably won't like. So, all you people talk about makerspaces. Yes. Moving on. All right. So, I don't like them. All right. FETC. Who's going?
Oh,
I know,
I
right?
wish. I'm hopeful. My fingers are crossed. Let's just leave it at that.
What are the dates, Kat?
Oh, gracious. Let me look it up, and let's get this. Actually logged out of Twitter.
It's the same time as the UGA Digital Learning Conference. Yeah, it overlaps that.
Not going. Not going. FETC, which, by the way, is fetc.org, and it's kind of like a mini ISTE. It's like an ISTE primer, right?
Yeah.
And let's see.
Is it like the
January 20th to the 23rd?
Okay.
Yeah. So I know for a fact that I will definitely not be going. I'm happy that I did not submit, because I actually sit on the board for the UGA Digital Learning Conference. I am the first non-UGA person to sit on the board.
Wow.
So, I know. So I get to look at all your conference submissions.
Yeah.
And I will be as unbiased as possible. But yeah, that it'll be really good. I think they have some really good events, and some great people will be there as well. So it's up to you guys what you want. Kate, did you submit?
No, I didn't. I've got too much going on. I actually had a vendor approach me about helping present, and I just had to say no. We've got so much going on right now in Fayette. I really need to focus on my district, but I am jealous because that's one that, it's kind of that dream, like one day I'll get to FETC. So sadly not.
Yeah. And by the way, we keep on saying FETC. For those of you who don't know, it's the Florida Educational Technology Conference. And Florida has been really ahead of the game when it comes to virtual online learning, even for K-12. So they're a great place to be. But I am going to the UGA Digital Learning Conference. It is the second year. It is at the Conference Center, and I will tweet the link out in a little bit for those of you who are interested. It's 2 days. It's Friday, Saturday. They have food. There's dinner on Friday, lunch on Saturday, and it's really unique because it is a mishmash between K-12 and higher ed. I keynoted last year, and this year I can't give anything away yet. but there'll be some really, 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 really good keynotes. There's two, one Friday night and one Saturday morning. So those of you who are interested in going, particularly if you're in the state, or if you don't want to go to FETC because it's too big, too large, you want to go to something a little more homegrown, this would be a good place for you guys.
So could you just go on Saturday?
Yeah, definitely. You can just go in one day. Definitely. So, and I don't know if when it comes to payment, I mean, it's not gigantic. I'm sure that they would work with you. So,
what are the dates on that again, Kat?
that is the 22nd and 23rd. It is a Friday and a Saturday.
Of
January.
January, okay.
Yeah. And I
looked on their College of Education page. I just Googled it real fast, and it doesn't have any dates.
Oh, I do have the dates somewhere. I swear I do.
Yeah,
here
it was
it
on
is.
the Georgia Google Educators group page.
Yeah. So, second annual Digital Learning Conference.
Oh, I see another link for it.
Yeah, it begins at Friday at 4 p.m., which is something that I'm a huge advocate of. There are going to be pre-conference workshops that are free, and you can register for those if you want to. And the workshops include, much to my horror, making in makerspaces. I'm sorry. It's just overhyped. We'll get into it later. It's kind of like Pinterest for me, remember?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, here we go.
But in case you haven't noticed, I've been on Pinterest.
Elementary teachers love Pinterest.
Really?
I know. I have been on Pinterest. I have a profile, and I've added crap. I have a Pinterest.
That's awesome. Awesome sauce.
But I'm still not bought into makerspaces. I think that it's the whole aligning yourself to too much of one thing. Regardless, it's actually going to be really interesting. They will have the 3D printing and robotics. But then there's also going to be Google tools and social media. That's actually going to be me and Lindsay Briard. Who was on with us in May talking about how Common Core is not the devil. And there will also be another one called Computer Programming for Mere Mortals using live code. And that will actually be pretty incredible as well. Yeah. So those are the pre-conference workshops. Good. But you show up at 4 p.m. They don't want people to feel like they have to take time off, right? I mean, come on, sub-plans are horrific. Mm-hmm. So you actually can work, you come over, stay the night, and it concludes Saturday at 4 o'clock. So
okay.
Yeah, it'll be really, really interesting. I'll tweet the link in just a little bit, and the hashtag for that is #UGADLC.
And then I think next would be the Gaffey Summit, right?
Go, Stacia.
Yep.
So that's January 31st and February 1st, hosted at the Lovett School again, and we're very excited. This is the third annual Southern Summit, and Chris Kraft is the lead for this summit this year, so we're very excited about that. We do realize it's Super Bowl weekend, so we've got some exciting things in store, like tailgating themes for lunch and some different challenges and competitions that I want you guys to stay tuned for. But, wear your jerseys and just come and have fun. I mean, we'll be out way before the Super Bowl begins. Super Bowl doesn't start till like 8 o'clock, 8:30 anyway, so you'll have plenty of time to go to your Super Bowl parties. And if you're coming from out of town, maybe you'll just, hook up with some of us who will go and watch the game later, and then you can travel back to your respective, places. But it's a great conference. Wow. It's where all of us met. I don't think we met you, Amy, then, but Kat, Jamie, Kate, and I met at the Gaffey Summit in September of 2012. Yeah. And so look at the relationship that came out of that. It's a small conference where you meet great, Google certified teachers like me. I met at Kat. But, you also meet, just educators doing great things with Google in their classrooms. And so I love it. So I'm kind of like the point person at Lovett this year, but the EdTech team has just been amazing in how much they've grown since that September Gaffey Summit. It's a well-oiled machine now, so I would just recommend anyone come to that. And I'm about to tweet that link now, and that hashtag is Gaffey Summit.
And we will all, I know I'll be there the entire time. I think, Jamie, you're going to be there
I'm going to shoot for Sunday. I'm going to be in Memphis all day Saturday, and then I'm going to have to drive back from Memphis Saturday night to even get there at a reasonable time on Sunday, but I want to be there on Sunday. So it's going to be a crazy weekend. Y'all think of me while I'm driving to Memphis and back from Memphis, and flights just don't cooperate to make it happen, so I'm going to drive it.
If you bring us back some Memphis food, we'll take it.
There we go. Barbecue.
Barbecue action.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tailgate. Why not?
Mm-hmm. But
So-
I think
go
it's going to be
ahead.
great. No, I think the conference is going to be really, really, really interesting. From some of the people that I know who have submitted some presentations, it's not going to be like, there will be some basic stuff. There will be this is how you use a Google Doc, right? But
Right.
there's also some, really interestingly enough, it seems like there's a lot more higher level information. So I submitted for one on, of course, gamification with using Google. And I know some other people who've submitted on like security features using Google as well, and things like that. So some really interesting things.
I'll be
Here's what I
submitting-
submitted.
Oh, what are you
What-
submitting?
Oh.
You first.
I submitted about using Google add-ons inside of Drive, all the different apps that you can to add on, and I am so excited, and I'm just going to add this to the mix, that you can now do Google Maps from inside of Drive, and they're
Yes.
saved right there. Yay, Google! That's one of my favorites. That would be my hot topic if we were doing hot topics.
Well, I figured we could end talking about some of the interesting Google stuff that we've recently discovered in general. Yeah, just today actually. So we'll visit some of those. But so how do you register? What the website is?
It is GA.
Mhm.
I just had ga.gaffysummit.com.
And
Fantastic.
Jamie, what did you submit?
Student-led broadcasting via Google Hangouts on Air. Thankful to Kate for opening that up in our school district so that we could make that happen. So I'm excited to share that at a few conferences. That might be something, and that's what I'd really like to do at the Digital Learning Conference. That'd be the weekend before my travel, so that would make for a crazy couple of weeks, but maybe I
But
can do it.
hey, we've all kind of had a comparatively down
Yeah.
semester. So you're doing we're all doing amazing things. Go out and share. It's probably one of the big things I preach with everybody I work with is the more you share, the more you can get people joining on board and doing some fun stuff. So, all right. So I think that's the end for January. And then I have some interesting news to share. So the ISTE of higher ed is EDUCAUSE. And they have a division that's like emerging learning, essentially like learning information, learning environments, and it's called ELI. And they have an annual conference, and I will be doing a TED Talk there.
Ooh.
Exciting.
Yeah,
Yay.
I'm doing a face-to-face and a virtual one, so you guys can watch me on YouTube.
Yay.
February 9th and 10th, and it takes a lot to get me nervous. I'm nervous. So, but we're talking about using gamification as a way to disperse innovative techniques in teaching, if that makes any sense. So it'll be nice. But it's in Anaheim, California, so I'm coming back to you,
That's awesome.
California. I know, right?
That's awesome.
Now, Kate, you might know about
Yes.
this more than I do. February 20th and 21st, the Center for Teaching and Learning at Kennesaw State University is having a conference called the
Yes.
Research on Teaching and Learning Summit. What do you know about it?
Very little because I haven't been as involved. Right now I'm more involved with Tech and Learning Live Atlanta. So they haven't really said a whole lot. I really don't know as much as I probably should, Kat. So why don't you talk about that?
Sure.
Here's how
No
I work
problem,
for
no
them.
problem. And I have a link, and I will tweet that as well in a second. Well, throughout the University System of Georgia, in fact, every university has a Center for Teaching something, Center for Teaching and Learning,
Yes.
Center for Teaching Excellence, whatever you want to call it, right? It just depends on what your university wants to call it. And they specialize in the scholarship of teaching and learning. Now, for those of you who are thinking, I don't do the scholarship of teaching and learning, yes, you do. Anything that if you do pre-testing and post-testing, guess what you're doing? You're doing research in your classroom. And that counts as the scholarship of teaching and learning. It's just the funky name. It's kind of like the makerspace name of K-12. That SOTL is what it's called, is the thing right now in higher ed. And it is a fantastic conference. I think this is the second or third year they're doing it. It was formerly known as the Georgia Conference on College and University Teaching. This is just more research-oriented. You've already passed the date for conference submissions or proposals. However, there's no reason why you shouldn't go. It's at KSU. And I think it'll be really, really interesting to kind of walk around and see what's going on and what people are actually studying. Particularly if you are listening and you're a K-12 person, it's really enlightening as someone who's done the jump to see either the gap or perhaps what you have in common. I try to look for the positives, not necessarily the negatives.
Well, that's a really good point, Kat, because I would like to say something to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we need K-12 teachers to collaborate and talk to higher ed about that gap, because there's a significant one. And until we all come to the table in instances like this with this particular conference that Kennesaw's doing, that conversation, everything perpetuates.
Mm-hmm.
So the more the better we can get K-12 and higher ed to the table, it would be a good thing.
I totally agree. So, I mean, with these opportunities coming up and more people collaborating like that, it's, you know, it's nice. It's nice to have that kind of thing going on. And it is interesting as a K-12 teacher to kind of see what's, you know, work together and influence each other, you know, do some assessment. I love assessment.
A future topic, Kate, especially with you having a college-age daughter. Like, we're not there yet, but to show us that gap between K-12 and higher ed as a parent.
Oh, there's a gap.
You know,
I know.
Yeah.
I sent my daughter to school with her Mac and her iPad, and I had the keyboard, and I was ready, and I kept talking to her about digital content, and this is going to be so great. And she walked into a professor's classroom who said, absolutely no digital devices. If I see it out, I'm confiscating it. They can't use anything. They can't have their phones out. They can't use anything. So, you know, of course, we've got these professors that have been there since, you know, the earth cooled, and they just, I know.
I've had this since 2009.
Yeah.
Flip phone. I have it.
Well, it hasn't changed.
Oh my God.
Very, very frustrating, especially with how much money I'm paying for her to go to the University of Georgia. Sorry, UGA, I love you. But
not every professor is like that, but there is a gap. But there is a gap, and half the reason is this: K-12 people. Here's how you can help higher ed: is you are experts in the pedagogy, not just the content. You are content pedagogy experts. The people who come into higher ed are not pedagogical experts, unless maybe they work in the School of Education, right?
Right.
They're not. They're content-specific experts. So they jump into this right after they've done their dissertation to get the degree, and suddenly they're expected to teach.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So that's where that's the divide, and that's where K-12 can help higher ed, and higher ed can help K-12 because some of the things they're doing with the content, K-12 would love. So.
Yes.
Well, you know, and regardless, it's like Amy and I have had this discussion about how we're pounding these kids to understand how to critically analyze what they have to use. If you have a device, how do you, and I give you a task, how do you take that device and you do that task? And I'm making my 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders think through this. And let me tell you, it's not easy, but I'm making them think, if I give you a task, what do you have that can make that happen? And it's painful for them, but it's necessary. And, you know, Amy and I have talked about it, you know, because we are building these digital learners, but we have to be relying upon the fact that when they get to middle school, someone continues to foster that. And that's hard, because to think that maybe we're preparing them and then somewhere in middle school or high school or higher ed that this is, forget it, right? And so, you know, Amy and I have definitely kind of gone back and forth with that in terms of, gosh, we're doing so much. How can we keep this going?
2 hands up, because and sometimes it doesn't even translate from what Jamie and I are doing in elementary school to the middle school down the road, and that's what's really difficult. I had a parent call me last week, and she's like, my kids they don't know how to get into their new Google accounts. Like, what? They've had these new Google accounts since the beginning of the school year. And
Kate's plugging her ears right now.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Kate.
No, I know. Believe me. Sadly well aware.
Then to go, and then when I have all these new teachers coming in our building that are doing their internships or their student teaching, or just some people who are doing some parapro positions for us, and I say, oh, you know, they walk in my class and they're like, I have no idea how to do any of this. I said, oh, where'd you go to school? And they're like, I'm not going to call out this university, but it's one really close by. And I'm just like, oh. They're like, yeah, I just had one computer class in college. And I'm thinking, we're not doing our elementary learners, you know, our future teachers, any sort of credit to send them into these university programs that do not teach them how to integrate technology into their classrooms. I mean, it's painful, and I hear it every day.
Well, and that's why I'm suddenly catching a theme here that seems like there's going to be a lot of K-12 and higher ed interaction coming up in 2015, which is kind of exciting. So,
well, I know one thing, too, from a district perspective that I really, really want to start is technology teams that are focused on the ISTE coaching standards. Because the more we can foster one another as a coach to our colleagues, because that's where the real conversation begins.
Right.
I mean, I've seen it with Amy and Jamie in their schools. You know, once someone steps in that's an effective technology coach, we can bridge that gap. We're just going to have to do it on our own turf.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, gosh, what's next on the docket after?
Oh, Tech and Learning Live. Can I talk about that? That's in March. Do we have anything in February?
February, no. There is actually there's a Southern Regional Faculty and Instructional Development Consortium, which I had never heard about in my life, but that exists. It's an organization of faculty and instructional development programs just across the board. It's for 2- and 4-year granting institutions, and it's meeting in Tennessee, of all places. But other than that, Tech and Learning Live. And you get to tell us what we get to say. Kate, go.
Okay. Oh, well, it's March 13th, Tech and Learning Live, Atlanta. It had been Tech and Learning Forum Atlanta, but they changed it to Tech and Learning Live. I was very thankful and very honored to be asked to help with organizing it and getting all of the presentations together. It's myself and Connie White and oh gosh, a phenomenal leader from Tennessee, and her name escapes me, and I'm so sorry, and then one from South Carolina as well. But we really are focusing on true, innovative, cutting-edge topics. And Tech and Learning Live is normally geared more toward district leadership, but we do encourage teachers to attend. And this year our keynote is Dr. Yang Zhao from the University of Oregon. And he spoke actually at Ed Leader 21 this past summer. He is doing phenomenal work on innovative education models for K-12. Again, going back to that model, but he is just great and truly inspirational. Also, I reached out to Kat. So Kat will be with us, and Jamie will be with us. Stacia and Amy, you guys are welcome too. I hope you do plan to attend. And then also, we're going to be bringing in someone I'm really excited about from the children's school in Midtown Atlanta. Their headmaster hopefully will be joining us as well, and he is truly an inspirational technology leader. And there you go, March 13th.
Fantastic.
And I'll tweet the information out.
Awesome. Are we allowed to say what we're doing yet, or is that still kind of under wraps?
Let's keep that under wraps just for now.
You got it. All right, perfect. So in other words, stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned, because it's just getting better and better.
I know. So you have secrets, and I have my secrets for the UGA DLC, but that will be coming up. So yes, it's going to be fantastic. Stacia?
Amazing. I heard him at ISTE a few years ago, and he was phenomenal. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I was thrilled that he's the keynote, because he is just incredible.
Yeah. At the end of March, I am going to the Deeper Learning Conference. Have you guys ever heard of that one?
No. Tell me more.
High Tech High is hosting that one out in San Diego. We're taking a team of 7 from Lovett. And it was one that I was really passionate about going to because, you know, I love technology, but I don't want to get stuck in a technology box as I think about my career in the future. And so this is one where I get to kind of go and just like see what else is out there. And so High Tech High does this one. It's kind of like they're calling it Do-It-Yourself Deeper Learning. And there's all these great workshops. You have to choose what's your focus going to be when you go out there. And so I'm really excited to go with our team and then kind of figure out how do we proceed with deeper learning at Lovett. We have people from lower, middle, and high school going in different areas, content areas, and so I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's deeper-learning.org.
Make sure you tweet that as well. We're gonna have we have to do a storify while the tweets are doing for all these links. Yeah. Something else in March. This is actually brand new. None of you know this. So this is, I know. It will maybe in March. We're aiming for that. I've been consulting with some amazing people from Rome, Georgia, which the irony of the fact that I live in Athens and I'm working with Rome is kind of funny. But Ed Camp Rome is happening. And it's going to be in the spring, likely in March. And the team of people are fantastic. So we have Terry Ponder, who is the instructional technology specialist at Rome City Schools. And then you also have Lee Green, of Gegg, Georgia, who is also my fellow Google certified teacher from Chicago, who is the instructional technologist at Floyd County Schools. And what's really nice, and Kate, you really should talk to Craig Ellison a little more. He is the director of technology for Floyd County Schools. You guys will probably have amazing conversations.
I met him actually. Yes, at the
you met him at
leadership. The leadership. Yeah, he's amazing.
Oh yeah, definitely. But he is assisting as well, which is fantastic to have actual district leadership stepping up to do some things like what you do. It's the same thing that you do, Kate. So it's nice to see that happening.
That's great.
But yeah, that's in the works. Literally right now, Lee Green is working on the website. So be on the lookout for that. And I will tweet the Twitter account. So you can go ahead and follow that. But that will be happening. So more Georgia Ed Camp fun.
Good. And I don't know if we've gotten into the summer yet, but Ed Camp Fayette will be July 23rd. So that is our official date. I got an entire group to come to a consensus on that, so that was a good thing. So Ed Camp Fayette will be happening, and of course Jamie and Amy will be there, and myself, and we're just really, really excited about it. So I hope everybody can come.
I will definitely be there.
Yay!
Me too.
And that'll be, and speaking of Ed Camps, and also speaking of combining K-12 and higher ed, I'm telling you, there's a theme. 2015 has a theme already. Ed Camp Gwinnett is happening.
Good.
Yes. So the leaders of GwinChat, who are Chris Rogers and Lindsay Briard and Michelle Loggins. If I said your name wrong, don't kill me. They were interested in starting up at Ed Camp, so I was talking with them. And then 3 weeks later, I had 2 people from Georgia Gwinnett College at the School of Education come over and said, we want to do an Ed Camp. And I said, we need to have it here. So it will be in the fall. The date is 85% secure as August 29th. August 29th in the fall here at Georgia Gwinnett College. So anybody who's interested in seeing what I do, please come on. It's going to be great. The infrastructure here is amazing. The technology here is incredible. So you're going to have very reliable wireless, fantastic food. It'll be catered by the college. So definitely. Yeah, so definitely come and get spoiled a little bit, but it'll be a great opportunity, So at Camp Gwinnett, and I just made that Twitter account. Lindsay doesn't know that yet, but I just made it for her. Yes, I'll tweet
I'm
that
so jealous. I'll have to tell Chris Rogers. I'm very jealous. That's awesome, Kat, that you've got them involved. Maybe I could get Kennesaw in on Ed Camp Fayette.
I'm telling you, there is a theme. Higher ed and K-12 need to mix, and Southeast can definitely pop up. But the University System of Georgia, they've been doing just some fascinating things. Do you know they actually had a MOOC? They had a massively open online course. It was called
MOOCs are to me as makerspaces are to you.
I know. As soon as I said it, I know.
And I knew Jamie was going to pipe in.
This whole the MOOC is dead thing. It's just being reinvented. KSU is reinventing it.
I know. Kennesaw's blended learning MOOC is incredible.
Yes,
Yeah.
And they're using it as a model for, so you have your first course free, and then this is for the instructional technology certificate.
Yes.
You take the first course free as a MOOC, and then you can register with KSU and take the next 2 courses. And then you get that certification on, oh my gosh, brilliant reinvention of the MOOC. MOOCs are actually useful. So they've actually, USG had a MOOC called Invent the Beyond, and they're trying to be forward-thinking, which is kind of unheard of for a university system, and just having people really participate. It's still ongoing. Like, it wasn't short. It started in September, and it's still going. Like, they're purposely drawing it out, which I think is another really interesting approach. So it's really interesting things going on here.
Well, you have a lot of teachers, too, that are going to be scrambling for professional learning units for their district. And those MOOCs are also a means with which to earn PLUs. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So MOOCs would be great. And Ed Camp, I believe, dependent upon does it
Yeah, we did.
yeah, about to say because Ed Camp
Mhm.
Atlanta for 3 years has always had you've always been able to get PLUs. So that means you have Ed Camp Rome, Ed Camp Gwinnett, and Ed Camp Fayette. So that's tons of hours for those of you who need to get recertified. And let me see what else. I actually do have a chart, y'all. It's totally me, right?
Hey, then there's a thing called ISTE. I
That's
don't
what
know
you
if you've
should
heard of it.
Yes, I
Right,
think we are
Tammy?
actually at ISTE.
There's a conference called ISTE, if y'all ever heard of that. That's coming up.
Oh,
Oh,
Lord.
yeah.
And
Like I feel bad because
yeah.
I actually reviewed proposals for ISTE this year, and that was the hardest job I've ever not gotten paid for.
Yeah, right.
And
Yep.
I don't know if I'm going. I just don't. You know what? It's just I don't know. I still have to figure that one out.
There's been some
You know what?
interesting. Go ahead, Kate.
Reach out to Refrons, Stacia.
Say that again.
Reach out to Refrons Davis.
Okay.
Who is a newly Google certified teacher.
She's a newly
incredible
Google
at.
certified. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of her. I mean, I follow her on Instagram, and I just adore her. I mean, she's been to the White House. She met the president. I mean, she's just taking the world by storm. I just adore her.
And
Kate, are you driving or are you just sitting in your
No,
car?
I'm
I know
just
she's
sitting.
sitting in
Here,
Starbucks.
would you like to see my lovely Arby's? Here, can you see that? This is what I'm looking at.
The drive-through, that's nice.
All right, so
drive-through.
I'm going to pitch ISTE to y'all really quick.
Pitch it.
And it's been interesting because a lot of people I've been talking to, I guess there's just been this kind of general malaise, kind of a burnout going on. And I think it's a combination of being isolated, of negativity, of all these one-minded ideas being, hammered on top of our heads. So I have a lot of people who are like, yeah, I'm just going to wait till Denver. I'm going to wait till Denver because, it circulates. So 2016 will be in Denver. I don't know. I think 2015 is going to be incredible. I will be there, and I will be hopefully not as busy as I was in 2014.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on, Kat. Seriously? No, you've got to cut back 80% of what you did after last year.
Yeah. I think I reached a point of no return when I sprinted from the Google Playground to the TechSmith booth. I sprinted. But yeah, I'm going to be a little more wiser in my time. But I say that, and I already have 3 things I'm doing at ISTE. And that's not including the Young Educators Network that I've been working with. But they'll be doing their Iron Chef, which, by the way, if you've never done that, you need to do it. And what else? I have a 3-hour workshop on gamification. I have a session on Google Add-ons. Amy, there you go. And I have a session that actually happened by accident, just via Gwyn chat. I met someone who apparently, she lives in Gwinnett, I live in Athens. We drive by each other, and we had no idea we existed to each other. None. And we started talking about, Twitter being this kind of a party realm, and you have to get into the party. So we have a whole thing called Twitter Goggles, so we'll be doing that. But looking at some of the...
That was my group.
Oh, was it really?
I don't know if I looked at those proposals.
Oh my gosh, but it's going to be good. I look at some of the people who are already tweeting some of the things they're doing, and again, it's higher level stuff. You're not going to necessarily get the let me walk you through these little tiny things. It seems really it's kind of a transition to more applicable, more research based kind of things going to ISTE this year. So I vote for Philly. I think Philly is going to be incredible.
I think that Philly is actually more doable for me than Atlanta was.
Yeah, it's hard when it's in your own backyard.
Yeah.
It is, and we were gone to Maine all last summer. Well, my husband's apartment is in Baltimore, so that's only an hour away from Philly, and I can make that work.
Yeah. I think Philly, yeah.
It's just that the timing, it just feels like I don't have a summer because of when I get out of school, and then there's iSummit, and then there's ISTE. So I think that's the issue for me. It's not that I don't love ISTE, and it was really great this year because we had our Voxer meetup, and it was great connecting with people that I've met on Twitter. But it's just that whole June is just a wash, and then it's like you only have the 4 weeks of July off, which I go back at the end of July, so it's like I don't have a summer.
I know, and I'm not presenting this year because of that, Stacia. I was a wreck. Last year I didn't enjoy it because I was so uptight and nervous about presenting that I was like, no.
But you did fantastic.
Well, thank you, but I'm just going to go and enjoy.
Yeah.
So.
And I think beyond ISTE, I don't have anything else on my calendar. I'm sure I'm forgetting something or other. But other than, of course, Ed Camp Gwinnett is August 25th or 29th. But I don't know. I really advocate attending conferences as much as you can. I'm attending the Teaching Professor Higher Ed Conference in Atlanta in May. I'm going to be attending the Sodal Commons Conference, which is hosted by Georgia Southern, but it'll be in Savannah. That will be in April. It's just, for me, conference attendance for me, or just event attendance in general, has been so enriching. And I feel like that's been one of the keys to getting me to where I have come. So I'm all about sharing and presenting. I think every time I present, I get better at what I do. So I really highly encourage people to always submit and present. Especially people in leadership. Kate, I love the fact that you get out there and you do that. I do. So
thank you.
yeah,
It's
totally
different. One eye. Ask her about the time she could only see out of one eye and she had to deliver professional learning.
Oh, that was a school professional learning. Oh, y'all, I scratched my eye and my contact fell apart. And I am so blind. So I'm literally presenting on a Nexus 7 the whole time like a pirate or something. Yeah. Don't recommend it.
We tried not to laugh at her. It just wasn't very successful.
Well, it's the things you do, right? The things you do to lead faculty, which is what we all are literally doing. So
I love the teachers. I just want to be with them, even one-eyed.
And with all these amazing conferences, here's a question for you. How can we get the teachers to go?
Well,
we solved all the problems of the world.
Amen.
We saved this one for last, yeah.
I think you've got to bring it back home, Kat. I really do. You got to bring those conferences back home. I mean, Stacia could probably speak to this too. You got to put those opportunities right in front of them.
And not only that, you probably have to take a risk and just pay for it out of your budgets if you're fortunate to have it, because our departments aren't going to support the kind of conferences we want them to go to, just because of limited funds and all the cutbacks now. So it's going to have to be us kind of staying out there and say, hey, I really want you to look at this. I think it'll change your life, and maybe they'll do it.
And even when I talk to our teachers about our local RISA conferences, they're like, oh, well, would you think I'll get a day off to do that? I mean, they're really concerned about their professional or their personal days and that counting against them in terms of maybe not getting a professional day because they need substitutes. So that's an area of concern for teachers in my building. Will I get these days back? Does it count against me? Because if I'm taking a day off and not getting paid, well then, that's no good.
Right.
Well, and I think that the key is that I've worked a little bit with our local RISA and was lucky enough to get 5 of my teachers to their conference. What I really liked was that when they came back, our following faculty meeting, my principal said, okay, I'm going to give each of you 3 minutes and I want you to recap your highs for the whole staff. And so it was exciting. I also did a Today's Meet back channel, and so sent that out to the whole staff. And so throughout the day, they could watch all of the things that the 5 attendees at the conference, and I wasn't even there. I was at school, so which was even more exciting because they were there, and I was getting them to back channel, the cool, neat things that they had. I sent them each with a Chromebook and said, "Here's a school Chromebook." Luckily, Kate was there to troubleshoot that for them, and they did. They back channeled with Today's Meet, and the staff could watch it, and then they re-delivered a 3-minute. Here's my most favorite thing, and I think that's what you got to do, and I think that's why I love my principal. She gets it. She gets the importance of sending people, but she gets the importance of infusing that back into the culture of the school.
So supporting, sending the teachers, and then bringing it back somehow into the school.
Because she had to pay for all subs. I mean, she paid for the subs for 5 teachers, and I mean that has to come out of a budget. But you got to say, you know what, it's worth it.
And that's the key too. I'm beginning to think I have this whole new, I guess, passion about administrators need almost a sabbatical to go into other buildings and see how effective leadership
Kate, it's
can manage.
Yes, it's learning walks. It's learning walks for administrators.
It is morning walks for administrators, and they need that because there's so many wonderful ones out there.
Mm-hmm.
If they could just see how this works, it would change so much.
See, now you make me see, and it's conversations like this that make me want to go out and do it, like be the change, right?
Yeah, well, or try.
Well, because I mean, I'm thinking like, because I've just been talking with Floyd County so much, how amazing it would be for Floyd County to come visit you guys, and then you guys go visit them.
Yeah.
I mean, you're only an hour and a half.
Lee and I have actually talked about it.
Right.
Yeah, Lee and I kind of started to talk about it, and you're so right. And I have to say, too, Clark County is another county that has got it going on.
Yes, they do. And Clark County, for our non-Georgia people, it's Athens, University of Georgia. So Rome is all the way on the upper west, like about an hour and a half from Atlanta, hour-ish. And then you have Fayette, which is right below Atlanta. And then you have Athens all the way to the right, where UGA is. That's another hour and a half-ish. That's still not gigantic, but totally doable to somehow create some sort of network and have people do learning walks, because learning walks is something I love to talk just in general about that. If we can ever figure out how how to work around our schedules and have our conversations again. Learning walks are incredibly powerful. I've pitched it here a couple times. We're doing more hybrid training, and I really want people to go and observe and see what happens. So if you have administrators doing that, yes, that'd be amazing.
I know. I just sent an email at the end of last week to 4 of our really strong elementary leaders, and Jamie's principal is one of them. And to just say, hey, you guys want to go up and see the children's school in Midtown? And then the director of elementary learning, who gets it and who's amazing, she responded and said, well, let's go to the museum school too, to kind of start getting that type of walk going.
Right. Well, it sounds like we have a project now, Kate.
I know, right?
And I'll be pulling all of y'all in. You're just sitting there thinking, Amy, Jamie, and Stacey, you're like, we're not going to do this. I'm like, oh, yes,
yes, you are. You're leaders. Ting. It's like, I need a magic wand. If I could just turn everybody into Jamie and Amy, I'd be so happy.
Well, and so just to wrap things up, so I know Stacia has to hit the road because we have family, we have travel, and Kate needs to drive. She's sitting in her car.
It's all good.
I actually have work to do. Any predictions for 2015 other than this whole K-12 higher ed thing? Anything that you think of that's going to be popular? Anything that's going to die out, horrible deaths? What are you thinking?
Well, first I predict I'm going to have my EDS. That's what I predict.
Yay!
4 more months, one major study in which poor Kate, who has nothing to do with her time, is going to have to sit down with me and cash out. Poor Kate. So I'm excited because I'm about to, probably tackle a BYD parent coaching something-esque massive vision. So I'm excited but terrified at the same time. And so I'm excited about that in 2015. And so I think in 2015 I'm hoping that what's coming is, like you said, this merge with K-12 and higher ed, but not just K-12 and higher ed, but and I guess in Texas we did a very longitudinal vision, and we looked at language arts across K-12, and we looked at mathematics across K-12, and so I think technology is another one of those things. What are we doing in elementary that must translate to middle, that must translate to high school, that must translate to higher ed? And I'm hoping that's 2015 that we start having those conversations about how our vertical teaming, and we are looking at this elementary tech specialist and the middle tech specialist and the high tech specialist says, here's what I'm doing in elementary. Guess what? This is how that needs to translate to you, and maybe that needs to be partnerships and teaming and talking about how that needs to go. But I'm hoping that's 2015 because it would make me feel better about what I'm doing on a daily basis, busting my hub if I didn't think it was going to be lost at the end of their 5th grade year.
Right.
I guess the thing, Jamie, that concerns me there is why are we still in 2015 calling it integration? I mean, it's so
Amen.
It's so part of our lives. Like, my son is always attached to his phone, and he's like creating stories in Drive and stuff on his phone, or and so with that being the case, and like meeting our kids where they are. I think it's just really sad that we're still calling it integration, and we still have. I mean, I'm glad I have a job. Don't get me wrong, but there should be that point where we're phased out of our jobs because every teacher is doing this. It's just innate. It's just like second nature. Just like you would plan a test, you're planning for a technology use, meaningful use in your classroom. So we got to start somewhere, and I just wonder how that looks, as far as the teacher prep programs and that, like you said, Kate, Kat, with the whole, this collaboration with K-12 and higher ed.
And oh my God, Stacia, now you're making me think. Well, no, you're thinking, because now you're bringing up this whole point about pre-service teachers, and if you could hit them then,
Well, but Stacia, another point that you hit on that I think is crucial is we see us, right? We are all about how do we impart our wisdom upon others so we can learn. I'll tell you, just in my experience, we're unique. There are a lot of people in technology who want to hold on to what they know, and they don't want to, because they fear losing that power. And Amy smiles. Look at that smile on Amy's face. And that's the problem. We're talking technology integration because the majority of people in this technology role, not the Twittery people, but the other people that aren't on Twitter, that aren't connected educators, that are just in these roles, they're holding on to that power. Because they don't realize that imparting this and making this like a fully part of our curriculum doesn't rule them out. It allows us to move to a different place and get to a different place. And I said to a teacher on Friday, we had a like sing along, a teacher flash mob, and all the technology was not done by me. I was in the back ready to dance. I was dancing because I had a 5th grader broadcasting it, and I had a teacher who at the beginning of the year didn't even know what was up with Google, running the presentation all in the middle of the room. I wasn't anywhere near them. And one of the teachers said to me, she's like, you're an anomaly because you just you don't do things like most people do. And I said, by not doing what they're doing. I mean, I could have run the Hangout, I could have run the presentation, and neither of them would have needed to be there, right? But by leading them and letting them go, I get to learn something new and go somewhere else. So I'm not phasing myself out. I'm getting better, and they're getting better. And as a culture, we're all getting better. But until we get all of us on that same page, we don't leave technology integration.
I know.
And let me throw out 4 words that come to mind. Fear, laziness, power, and control. Right? And that's for teachers in their classrooms, as well as people who are supposed to be leading them.
All day long.
Yep.
All day long.
And that's so depressing. Let's anything else for
And there's a whole conversation about...
There's a whole nother show.
I have been taking notes about what we're talking about in the future. just to let you know, because I have a lot to talk about. And Make Your Spaces is on that list because I think that and design thinking, nobody killed me from Mount Vernon Presbyterian School. It needs to be reinvented.
I think that the problem with those two things is, like you said, when one institution puts all of their eggs in one basket.
Yes.
Our kids are not going to go to other schools that are focused so heavily on that. So I think they're not going anywhere, but I think how we do it is what we have to think about.
No, exactly. It's kind of like, what is it called? The economics thing, law of diminishing returns, right? If you put everything in one basket, what's going to happen to the rest of the stuff, right? So return on investment.
You just have to know how to tie all of those things back to your pedagogy and your learning theories.
And that's where higher ed can come in, y'all.
Yeah.
So I know. All right, so we need to wrap it up, but.
This was fun, you guys. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
We'll try to wing this some more in the future because I think it's been nice kind of connecting.
We wing well.
We wing. I can't say that fast. All right. Well, and we don't have any more sign-offs or anything. We're just going to do what we're going to do. So thank you, guys.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
I'm going to end this now over here. All right. Bye.